Hi, this is my response to Katt Williams' shitty apology. When you apologize, you don't say, I'm sorry if I offended you. It wasn't meant, I don't want people to get offended. It was just my comedy act. No, it wasn't. An apology is not going to repair the damage that you have done that promotes and completely reinforces all the racism and white supremacy that Mexicans are subject to. A lot of people are commenting that, oh, the Latinos, we have to unite. This is about Latinos. First of all, Latino is a colonial term that was invented by the Reagan administration to try to group all of the people that were speaking Spanish together as if we just all generically belong to one box, which is a bullshit term. Latino is a colonial term that is used as a colonial manufacturing systematic concept to try to put us all together and rob us of our own unique individual ethnicities, identities, cultures, and histories. It is a bullshit colonial term, as is the term Hispanic. Hispanic, if you look it up in the dictionary, it means anything that belongs to Spain, a thing or culture of Spain. We are not things, we are not products of Spain. People think, oh, well, you speak Spanish, you have Spanish surnames. Well, that can also be said about the black community. Black community, for the majority, have English surnames, speak English, but they're not called Britannic. The same applies to us. How do we go from speaking our native languages, our indigenous languages, to all of a sudden English and Spanish? We as an indigenous people, because that's who we are, Mexicans, Central Americans, Native Americans, Mexicans are mistakenly called Hispanic or Latino, so are Central Americans. We are mistakenly called Hispanic or Latino. We need to understand that. We need to clean our mind from the colonial thinking, because these are terms that were created under the colonial system. Our languages, our religions, our cultures was systematically destroyed by genocide. Look up the definition of genocide. The definition of genocide is not just a physical killing of our people, which did occur. For 95% of our population was wiped out with the systematic use of smallpox as a biological weapon of choice. They knew exactly what they were doing. If you don't believe me, read American Holocaust by David E. Stannard. We have the system of genocide. Not only did they rob us of our land, of our culture, but they robbed us of the resources of our land, our knowledge of our history, our knowledge of what we created, our knowledge, our scientific accomplishments, our astronomic accomplishments, our medicine, our accomplishments in medicine and mathematics and sciences. All of that culture, all of that knowledge has been systematically negated to our people. That's why the majority of our people don't bother to be called Hispanic or Latino, because we have no idea what it means to be Mexican. We have no idea what the terms actually mean. So first of all, this is not about against Latinos, because I'm sure Katt Williams wasn't referring to the Ricky Martins and the Julio Iglesias and Enrique Iglesias. He was talking about the Mexican people that are mistakenly called Hispanic or Latino. Those of us that are indigenous, that are returning to our homeland. And don't forget the Repatriation Act of 1930s, where it was a systematic law that was enforcing immigration left and right from 1931 to 1934. They did a Repatriation Act. This is after Mexico was taken away from the United States. And what I mean by Mexico was stolen from the Spaniards, the people that controlled Mexico and that created Mexico were the descendants of the original Spanish invaders that still have not left Mexico. If you look at the history of the presidents of Mexico and other Central American states, you're not going to find an indigenous Mexican. You're not going to find someone that's Mexican, mestizo, mixed or full blood. You're going to find presidents that descend from the lineage of the criollos that never left Mexico, Central America. That's what you're going to find. If you look at the descendants of the politicians of Mexico, Central America, you're going to find Europeans. Mexicans and Central Americans, we're not in control of our lands and of our countries. To celebrate Mexican independence is really, really ignorant, because the Spaniards of Mexico never left. You have to look at the media. You have to look at their education system. Mexico is still governed by Spaniards. Just because now they're so-called nationally Mexican, that does not mean that they do not have that bloodline from the Europeans that originally invaded. So we have to understand that in the process of defending our community, we have to defend our history. We have to educate ourselves on what it means to be Mexican, Central American, Native American. We are indigenous. The rape that occurred, it was a domination of our culture. There was no mixture. It wasn't like, oh, a Pocahontas story that, oh, every case was a Pocahontas having sex with the white man that. No, women were raped. We were raped as a racially collective, or we were sexually assaulted by Europeans. And this happened to all people of color throughout the world. And because of that rape comes a so-called mix, so-called mestizo, because in our totality, just because some of us are mixed and we do have some of that Spanish blood, that doesn't take away from us being Mexican. And we always hear that argument, oh, look at you, you can't be Mexican, you're light-skinned. Well, since when does that rob me of my identity? There's been other cultures and other ethnicities in this world that have been raped and that have been colonized for more longer than what we have, 500 years. But yet that doesn't negate them, their identity. That doesn't negate them, their righteous embrace of their culture and history. So now that we have that clear, remember, Hispanic and Latino are colonial terms. We have to realize that what is happening here is white supremacy. I'm not going to get tired of saying it because no one is speaking on these issues of white supremacy. No one is talking about what is really going on. The ideology behind the media, the ideology behind the education system that teaches us to be ashamed of being brown and black. And this is something that we all suffer from. Growing up, you're used to seeing the media stigmatize black and brown communities. You're used to seeing, even if it's Spanish-speaking media. And I'm not saying there is no racism from Mexicans to blacks. I see that every day. I was born and raised in LA. I grew up in the streets of South Central. I know what it's like. I've seen the violence against black and brown and black. I know, but when I know my history, when you start realizing the system and when you start realizing that this current system of 2011, all of this is a product of 500 years of enslavement, of genocide, a systematic system that keeps us from our culture, from our language, from our true identity. So that's what this is about. And we as Mexican, Central American, Native American community, as indigenous community, we miss and we're lacking a clear sense of identity, and we do not have that defense mechanism. We do not have that support system for us to be able to stand up against racism. So what this video is about us educating ourselves, about us saying enough is enough with white supremacy and racism. An apology, a chicken shit apology that says, oh, I'm sorry if I offended you, that is not going to clear this. That is not going to save your career. Every comedian, and this is about not just Katt Williams, all of those comedians who feel that just because they have a mic to their face, they could rant out and all this racist rhetoric, all this white supremacy ideology that they're spitting. Like Carlos Mencia, like we have Katt Williams, we have a lot of brothers that are out there and just spitting this hatred and this racism against our people. Enough is enough. Not only Katt Williams, we have to hold every comedian accountable, because our reality, everything that we're going through is no laughing matter. I could take jokes. Don't get me wrong. I could take fucking jokes. But you know what I can't take? I can't take racism. I can't take someone making fun of who I am and my culture and my history, because that's been going on for 500 years. The media already does that. The education system already does that. I don't need a comedian to stand in front of me on a damn stage and make fun of my people, whether my people be black, brown, Asian, all of us. Enough racism in comedy. Enough of that bullshit. Let's grow some fucking courage and let's denounce this for white supremacy. Let's unite as black, brown, and those white that know what's up. Unite with us, because we need to tear down white supremacy. Intellectually, we need to take actions in our schools. Academically, we need to take the protests to the streets. It's about time that we wake up and we stop letting Eurocentric diffusionism and education run our lives and our culture and our heritage. All of us are beautiful. Our cultures are beautiful, but yet our cultures, our identities are suffocating under the system of white supremacy. It's time to end this. Boycott racism and colonialism in every form, shape that you see. If your friends are saying something racist, confront them. Stop this. If your neighbor's saying something racist, confront them. Stop them. Whoever it is, end this racism. Defend your people. Learn the education. Decolonize your mind. Do not go by the Eurocentric standards of beauty, Eurocentric standards of education and success. That's my message for today. Katt Williams, an apology is not acceptable. I don't care who said that they have accepted it. We in the millions as black and brown communities and the whites that know what's up, all of us do not accept your apology.